How is it going, boys and girls? Welcome back to Key West Waterman. My name is Aaron Young. If you've been frequenting the channel for some time now, you know that I've been quite busy. I have zero complaints about that. I've just been slammed with charters, so I hadn't had as much time to make videos as I would like. I really want to get some content out to you guys. I know you guys enjoy it. You guys have been so great with all the positive feedback and whatnot, but I've just been busy. The charters pay the bills, and if the YouTube ever gets to that point, which hopefully it does one day, I'll make more YouTube than I do charters, but the bills have to be paid, unfortunately. But tomorrow I actually have a sword fishing trip, and it's a YouTube subscriber, and they said they'd be happy to let me film, so that's what I'm gonna do. I've had a lot of questions about my rigging, how I rig my baits, what kind of leaders we're running and stuff like that, so I'm gonna try my best to make this an educational episode about sword fishing, and hopefully we also catch a swordfish. I'm gonna rig up one of my favorite style baits. My favorite bait is a mahi-belly, and I'm gonna tell you why here in just a few minutes, but everything I have, I've got a pack of crimps, crimpers, needle, some wax line. I use 50 pound. I think they make anywhere from 30 to about 70. These, I believe, are 1.9 millimeter. I'm not sure. 300 pound is what they fit on. For my short leader that goes on the closest near the bait, I use 300 pound Mamoy extra hard. The soft works okay, but I like the extra hard. It just prevents a few more tangles. Somewhere around a 10-0, 11-0 hook is what I normally use. I believe this one, I don't think this is a mustad. I'm not sure which one this is. I use quite a few different varieties, but somewhere around that size. And a skirt of your choice, whichever color you like. I've done pretty well with pink, so we're using pink. I'm actually gonna rig a few baits, but I'm not gonna show you a few, I'm just gonna show you one. So, let's get started. So as I was saying, one of my favorite baits is mahi. I use bonita, tuna, kind of whatever I have. I've even caught swords on cobia belly, barracuda, stuff like that. One of the reasons I like mahi so much is there's a little groove right here in the mahi belly, and that hook kind of sets right in it. Most of the other baits I rig from the inside out, the hook goes through, the shank of the hook is behind this, so it just reduces the amount of hook you have exposed there. The mahi-belly sits very nicely inside that little groove, so that's why I like it. Sorry, I got the jets flying over. Hopefully you guys can hear me. So I've got about 6 feet of this, 6-7 feet. We're gonna go, I've already poked a little hole in there, maybe ½ inch, ½ inch down, well, probably about ½ inch down at the top. I'm gonna run my mono through the eye of the hook. If I can find it, there it is. And then also through the belly itself. There are a ton of different ways to rig baits. My way is not necessarily the right way. This is just what I've had the most luck with. Since I started doing this kind of outside the belly, I feel like I've had a little better hookup percentage. There's just more hook there for that fish to get a hold of. All right, nice there. So I'm gonna kind of just let that hang, get it exactly where it sits naturally. I don't want this hook to be forced anywhere. I'm gonna throw just a couple stitches just inside or just around the shank of the hook, kind of to hold this guy in place. So you can see just below the eye there. I'm not going to cinch that down yet because I'm going to do 2, and like I said, I want it to be natural. So I see the hook starts to leave the belly. Hopefully you can see this. The hook leaves the belly about right there. So I don't want to go farther than that because it's going to kind of bend it down. The bait's not going to be natural. So I'm going to go up about ½ inch, and I'm going to throw another one right just above where that hook leaves the actual belly. Watch your finger on this. I've definitely had my fair share of punctures. If you're not careful, these needles are very sharp. Okay. Just like that. Okay, so she's sitting kind of natural. Again, leaves the belly right about there, so I go up just above it, just a smidge. And I'm just kind of doing what I call a double knot. You don't want to cinch these down crazy tight. Like I said, they're more just to hold it in place. You don't really want it to be as tight as you can get it. You don't want to completely cinch down on these. That way. Kind of wiggle it, make sure she's still sitting there pretty naturally. Bait is still straight. That looks beautiful. If you want to be cautious, you can do another one of those double knots, but normally one holds just fine. Alright, so you can see that. Now look how much more shank I have there. How much more hook is exposed compared to it being inside here coming out. Like, ever since I started doing that, I've had a lot higher hookup percentage when we do have bites. So that's what I've been doing. I've been trying to use mahi-bellies if I can find them. I used to use bonita quite a bit, but I prefer mahi-belly if I can find it. I'm gonna trim these corners just so it fits a little better in the skirt. I've got my rigging needle. This is kind of the easiest part, in my opinion. I think everyone does this close to the same. You're just sewing this belly up. There's so much time and effort that goes into these swordfish and the trips in general. You just really want to make sure when this bait is down there, it holds together well. There's nothing worse than having an hour-long drift and bringing the bait up and it's just destroyed because you didn't take the time to sew it properly. So again, I'm not completely, wrenching down on this. You don't want to split the bait or kind of squeeze the meat out or anything. You want it to just enough to hold it in place. You can see just every now and again check it. Make sure I'm not, because if you pull it too tight, you'll notice that it'll start to twist. And then your bait kind of swims a little funny. But this seems to be doing just fine. Hope you can see it's trying to. Keep that going. And depending on what kind of bait you're using, it's going to split differently back here. The mahi-belly, I go all the way to that split, do one, and then I do another one because it brings, that first stitch was right there. If I do another one in the same hole, it brings one stitch farther back, and that's pretty darn good. And on the way back up, I'm probably going to run out of floss here, so I'm going to skip a hole. You can go back through the same if you'd like. It really isn't that big of a deal. So I'm going to alternate. I'm going to go past one. There, so I skip one. And once I get towards the top, bring it back together. See, it's not twisting. I didn't pull it too tight. It's very natural. Technical name for that, it's just, I call it a double knot. This one I'm going to do two, because if that comes unsewed, the whole bait's going to come apart. Here two. Again, not completely cinching down on it, just tight enough to hold it in place. That looks absolutely beautiful. Trim that. Get a little more floss. All right. So I've got my bait. Like I said, very natural. I kind of wiggle it around to make sure there's nothing, it's not too tight anywhere. That hook's nice and free and natural. It's not bent. Just a lot of times if you tie these too low or pull these too tight, this bait will kind of start to bow, and you won't be able to tell as much now, but when you throw it in the water, you'll definitely notice. Take your favorite skirt. I like pink. Pink's done me pretty well in the past. Also do real well on black. I like a silver grayish color. But I probably, honestly, have caught them on every color you can think of. Pull that down. That looks lovely. I'm gonna take this one more time. Watch your finger. Double knot. This just keeps that skirt from sliding around. These swordfish can get pretty aggressive when they're trying to feed. And if that skirt comes loose, it's got an opportunity to kind of wrap around the hook. It could slide up the leader. You kind of want everything to stay. And I just got a glow bead. Down to there. And I'm actually going to put my swivel on right now. I use a 300-pound. I believe it's made by Diamond Fishing Products. I think it's Diamond. 300-pound swivel. These, I make several of these the night before or the morning of, depending on my schedule. And one thing I do is, hopefully you can see this, I leave a little space from the edge of the crimp. If I crimp all the way up to that mono, I've had it actually split and kind of kink the mono, so I leave a little space there. Some people burn the ends. I've never had an issue with that. That's, in my opinion, absolutely beautiful, and that is not going anywhere. So there we are. That is my bait. All right, so instead of making you watch another 15-minute episode of us not catching or shooting anything, I'll give you a quick synopsis on the trip. We ended up not catching a swordfish. Very first drift, literally less than 30 seconds into the drift, had a very nice aggressive bite. Looked real nice. Looked like it was almost going to slack off, and then just nothing happened. The fish just kind of, I don't know, it just either wasn't interested in the bait. I think maybe it got hooked and kind of shook it out and wasn't sure. Just didn't come together. Pulled the bait up and checked it. Set on a second drift, and I think less than 5 minutes in, we ended up hooking up, coming tight. It went straight down and started peel and drag, which kind of thought it was a shark, and it ended up being a shark. So we were a little bummed, and then rest of the day, not even a sniff. They hung in there all day. I couldn't thank them enough for letting me film and for sticking it out. Unfortunately, it just wasn't our day. But I wanted to bring you guys up to speed on that instead of, I know the last episode was kind of boring, but also wanted to let you guys know, I know I keep saying it, all you want is more episodes. January is actually booked out, and I can't be more thankful for that. But starting February and from there on out, I'm going to block days off my calendar just to film. I'm going to dedicate them to filming. February, I've blocked off 6 days. I want to get you guys more episodes. You guys have been so supportive and have been showing so much love to the channel. Some things that are coming up, so that I want you guys to let me know what you want to see. Right now, commercial deep drop is open. There's still some tunas and wahoos around. There's some sailfish around. Cobia are starting to show up in the Gulf. So those are just some of the things we'll be doing. Right now, grouper diving is closed. Can't shoot groupers. Mutton snapper's still open. So let me know what you want to see. Keep the feedback coming. And like I said, starting February, I'm dedicating at least 5 days a month to filming because I want to get you guys weekly episodes. And other than that, let me know what you want to see, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks so much.